Welcome everybody to King's Corner. I'm Spaz, Eternal Kings Motorcycle Society. Thank you for joining us on this fine Tuesday, 5/27. Sorry for not being here for all y'all last anybody that tuned in or checked us out on last or was going to tune in and check us out last Tuesday. We actually did not, well, a couple of us didn't get back from our annual in time, and as such we weren't able to hop on, so sorry to let y'all down. I know we had talked, or I had talked about being on here every Tuesday and making getting live again Tuesday of last week, and like I said, we end up not making that back, but excited to be on here and get to chat with you. Again, I got a couple of the bros. I got, Kill Switch over here, and I got U-Turn in the background back there, kind of sitting in the shadow. So still working through the getting used to all this. Kind of interesting thing. A lot of things have been going on in our world, but yeah, so I want to start off, give you a couple updates and announcements, some shout outs before we get started and kind of go into this. But updates wise, we have a couple events coming up. I know first Saturday of the month, this next month, we're doing what, Kill Switch?
St. Mary Volunteer Service making food boxes at St. Mary's.
Yeah, so St. Mary's food bank over on 35th Avenue. Because we're staggering it out every other month. We do either a St. Mary's event or we feed the homeless ourselves over at St. Vincent de Paul. But so join us if you want to do that. It's a completely free event. You don't have to donate any money or anything like that to come out and serve. Basically, what we're going to do is meet early in the morning. The start time for the event is 8 o'clock, and usually we meet up at like 7:15ish.
We meet at 7:15,
and then we KSU and roll.
We KSU and roll out about 7:30. 7:20.
Probably about 7:20, I think. Yeah, usually about 7:20 we roll. That way we get there by 7:45, 7:50. And then everybody can get checked in, get instructions from St. Mary's Food Bank, so that we can, get in and actually, pack some food boxes and stuff like that. Food boxes go all over the valley, guys. So food boxes go to a lot of times old folks' homes, places or that are kind of sponsoring the elderly. They go to other food pantries across the valley to kind of support their needs. They do a lot of different stuff with that. So definitely check out St. Mary's Food Bank for more information on where those food boxes go. But they've been doing this a very long time. So they have a very, very good system. It's an air-conditioned facility. They play music, so it's all lively. We try to make it interesting, and everybody kind of dances around and messes around a little bit, but keeps it safe while packing. And we always do like competitions. Like last time we were doing, what did we pack out there?
Oh, we were doing pallets. Who could pack the most pallets?
Yeah.
So one line versus another line.
Yeah, we had two different lines, so we were packing boxes and loading them on pallets and trying to see who could actually get the most out of the two teams. So kind of a very cool way to be able to give back to charity and community. So that's on the first Saturday of June, so right around the corner. If you're interested in signing up for that, go online to our website, of course, send us a link or a message through the contact tab. Just let us know that you'd like additional information, or go to our Facebook page, Eternal Kings Motorcycle Society. You can search that and you will find us on there. And then you can shoot us a DM and we'll be able to respond back to you with all the details and make sure you're aware of that. A couple shout outs as far as sponsors. Continued thank you to Brad Johnson Injury Law. If you are, hurt, it doesn't really matter how. Like if it's an injury, you slip and fall somewhere, you get in an automobile accident, whatever kind of injury. I mean, it is. If it's on the job injury, definitely reach out. 1-800-3-INJURY. Brad Johnson Injury Law. His team over there takes great care of people. We've been working with him for quite some time. He's represented a couple of us, and family members and loved ones and stuff like that. So we care enough, and have a good enough relationship with him to actually refer him to family members and loved ones. And, we want to make sure we do the same for y'all. So definitely going to put you in good hands, I think, there. Brad Johnson Injury Law. Another big one I hear all the time. I actually just was reading a post from a guy named, we call him Sluggo. He owns a Mesa Computer Repair. and he sponsored us quite a bit and helped us out with a lot of our programs. So thank you to Sluggo. Guy's amazing. You'll hear me talk about him a lot, but with him, he does Mesa Computer Repair. He talked on a post the other day about Geek Squad, and basically was talking about how, stop taking your computers there. A lot of times they take advantage of people, and it just doesn't end well. So, and I don't have a personal experience with Geek Squad. I can't say there, but I can speak on behalf of the work that Sluggo does with Mesa Computer Repair. He's actually provided some computers for not only for my daughter personally to go to school through Penn Foster EDU, which is our high school diploma, program that we use for our Fresh Start Youth program to facilitate that. But he's also provided computers to Killswitch. I think he helped you with either fixing your computer or
he helped me get a new computer for my wife.
Helped him get a new computer for his wife. So
Helped out Ruins too.
yeah, he helped out one of our brothers get a computer for online schooling. So guys, real down to earth. What he does also, if you have computers laying around that you can donate, what he'll do is he'll actually refurbish them up as long as they're like a newer, not like new, but new enough. He'll go through, refurbish them up, make them real nice, and then he'll sell them. But when he sells them, all the money brought into him, he'll actually donate back to Eternal Kings. Aside from any parts that he has to put into it, because obviously he doesn't pay himself labor on it. But so it's a really cool thing that he's doing over there to help us meet our goals. And I'll tell you guys, we got some lofty goals, right? I mean, this year we're going to be putting a flyer up, kind of letting you know where we're at, but we are sitting at a little over $1,000 in our charity funds. And we have a goal of putting out about 4,500 to 5,000 on the minimum, I'd say, this year, between now and December. So as you can imagine, it's a big goal. Now, where that money is going to, right? I think it's important to mention that money is going directly to the programs with like our Hope for the Holiday from now till December for the most part, and making sure that that's taken care of. Because if you do the math, our goal is 25 kids this year, and we usually spend about 175 to 200 per kid between by the time you calculate the presents itself, gift wrap, tape, any decorations or supplies that we need, anything like that. So it's not a cheap program to operate. We don't try to cut corners, it's not what it's about. We really try to make a huge difference, make these kids remember us in the biker community. So if you can donate on there, that's something that you can definitely help out with. Go to the Donate Now page on our website, eternalkingsms.com, and just feel free to, donate that direction. And that'd be a pretty good way to give back to the community if you can't get involved and serve, or if you're just feeling generous. And same thing goes for sponsoring people. We're about to start working to try to find those families that are truly in need. So if you can send or have them go to our website, either send us a contact card or have them go to our website and fill out a contact card. We're not looking for a bunch of information, guys. We're not looking for social security numbers and crazy, we're not a government program like that. But we are looking for, just basics information, how many kids are involved, who could benefit from the program, what are the ages of the kids. We're looking for, what potentially is going on a little bit, kind of little backstory as to what's going on. And then what we'll do is evaluate each case by case basis, because we have limited resource. So we try to choose the families that we feel could benefit the most. So again, it's not always like cut and dry, but we try to go on a first come first serve basis. That's the biggest thing. And then we just try to, obviously we're going to prioritize a lot of times the younger kids over some older kids when it comes to things. So we have some priority there. We try to help the families that have like the young kids, like the 10, 11s, the 8s, the 7s, stuff like that. Not the 17, 18-year-olds, even though we have helped families that have had kids that are 15, 16 years of age. So anything to add on that, guys?
Honestly, it's one of the most heartwarming experiences to ever go ahead and do. It's open to anybody that wants to join us when we go ahead and pass out. pass out the gifts, stuff like that. But you guys can go ahead and ride with Santa to go ahead and deliver the gifts and everything like that.
And Santa's not kicking on his sleigh. So it's not like that, guys. You don't have to get on Santa's sleigh. You can, ride next to him in the pack. He actually, yeah, I don't know if you knew this, but he traded in the reindeer a while ago, and he's riding a Harley. And it's a fake glide. So I know it's called the street glide. I'm probably gonna hurt some people's feelings here, but unless you're a road glide rider, I call it a fake glide. So cough, cough. Yeah, right. Anyways, that's the guy that rides it, but he actually subs in as our Santa. So pretty cool there. But yeah, that's kind of some of our announcements, some of our sponsors. Am I missing anybody as far as Matic Insurance? If you are interested in insurance, you can definitely go and reach out to our page, and we will direct you to some people that work at a company called Matic Insurance Agency. It's a broker that has helped us through their Matic Cares program. With our first program of the year this year, our first, thing that we did this year when it came to feeding the homeless and giving out goodie bags and stuff like that to the homeless in the community, and, socks and toothbrushes and a little bit of this and that. But Matic.com is the website. It's an insurance brokerage / agency, mostly working with, real estate agent partners and lenders and things like that. We help them to, get insurance lowered so that their mortgage isn't as high. And the cool thing about it is I work there myself, so I know firsthand what the experience can be going through it. And I talk to a lot of people that really need to save money. And, one of the reasons I love working at the, Matic is because of the fact that they have the Matic Cares program. So that's been able to help us. So it's kind of a cool thing. If you do need help with that, maybe lowering your bills, helping you year round with that, by all means, reach out through our website, eternalkingsms.com, or through our Facebook page as well. And then myself or, U-Turn behind me, he works at Matic as well, so that we can both, potentially help get you guys situated. And we work in a lot of states. So there's, like I said, Arizona, local, happy to help you there, all across the U.S. I mean, Nevada, Utah, Ohio, kind of all over the place. So unless you're in California, we don't do a whole lot in California currently. Florida, South Carolina, we do some. Georgia. But anyways, I don't want to get off on a tangent there, but just let us know if you do need some help with that. And shout out to Matic for actually going above and beyond and actually, sponsoring us and helping our homeless, feeding the homeless event, the beginning of this year. So anybody else I missed?
Not that I can think of it.
All right. So yeah. So next thing I'm going to kick into is really just, I know, like I mentioned 2 weeks ago, Tuesday, we had our annual. So we do things a little bit different. For those of you that have followed along or watched our old videos so far that we posted, there hasn't been many. This is new to us. And we're kind of figuring out some ideas to, creativity when it comes to like the TikTok and stuff like that. See how that kind of lands. But for those of you that have been following along and stuff like that, that we do our annuals not like a local party. It's not like where we have a bunch of, other organizations come hang out, buy wristbands or anything like that. Nothing against that for those that do. That's just not how we do things as a motorcycle society. So we actually will plan an annual ride once a year, and we ride a bunch of other times, but we plan one annual ride specifically in May for our annual to go and celebrate with bros. And we've went all over. We went to Elko, Nevada. We went to El Paso, Texas. We've went to Nebraska. We've went to California. We've went to Vegas.
Colorado.
We went to Colorado Springs. And that leads me to where we went this time. So this time we actually went directly to technically it's called Mariposa, California, but it's not far from Yosemite National Park. So we went up there. I had suggested it to them because my uncle, he actually lives up in that area in Raymond, California, has a big ranch out there, like an Angus farm or ranch or what have you. And I hadn't seen him in a while, and I told the bros and like, hey, guys, like, why don't we go and do something different. You know, we're always going and like partying it up, you know, at different places. We can go party it up like in maybe not such a populated area and kind of go to like more of an skirty kind of place. So we booked out in Mariposa, and you know, we got to go out to Yosemite National Park.
Oh, dude, that was a
Um,
blast.
It was fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, really, really cool.
Not built for the fat man.
No, no.
No, you
So
can say that again.
no, it was a lot of walking. We went to, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with Yosemite National Park, but the largest national park, I believe, in the U.S. And they have these huge sequoia trees called giant sequoias, and they have some really, I mean, they're immaculate. It's insane how these things look. I mean, you think about it, you're like, it's a tree, but it's really not. You know, it's like these trees are like the
Huge.
size of this room at the base, you know, which is not small by any means. You know, so I mean, bring your wife there. She might not complain. You know, okay, was that a bad joke? Was that too soon? All right, sorry guys. I couldn't help myself. You know, it was a size joke, but you know, I'll keep it professional. But yeah, but you can even walk through it, and like one of them, like they have it cut out to where you can walk under. So it's really really cool. But definitely bring your walking shoes. I did it in motorcycle boots,
So did
and
I.
I'm not a small guy. I'm like 290 some odd pounds, you know, and we all did it, and it was like I don't even know, like it's probably like almost 3 miles of walking. Doesn't sound like a lot, but for us, it is. And we have some old timers in our group too, and you know, they even though they held their own and they had fun too, but it definitely was a lot of walking, and but it was all worth it. So lots of waterfalls, cool stuff like that. Some really nice little diner kind of set up places inside the park where you could eat. So that's kind of cool. And then what else? We ended up going after, like, while we were there, like I said, we got to spend time with my uncle.
We went out riding quads.
Yeah, rode quads all across his landline, you know, his fence line.
That what's that racer he had?
Oh, he had yeah. So he has a Can-Am 1000 cc with turbo. So we got to, you know, take some rides on that and check that out. And so that was pretty cool.
Got to go ahead and see the horses, stuff like that as well too.
Yeah, hung out with the horses, the cattle that's out there. I mean, we're like city slickers, guys. So I mean, it's definitely new to us when it comes to that kind of stuff, with the exception of this guy. I mean, he lived out in like Nebraska and Tonopah, and you know, some of the places that are a little more outskirty and stuff like that. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like I'm city slicker by every stretch of the imagination. You know, like I'm riding my motorcycle, not trying to pretend to be homeless and go camping. You know, that's just not my cup of tea. So, I mean, if you like it, cool. I mean, I'm one of those guys that's like, if I'm not going to tell you like what you like, what you don't like, but that's not for me. You know, I'd rather go rip it up on quads and Can-Ams and boats and motorcycles and, you know, do that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, it was fun. We were definitely away from everybody. I mean, so much so that when the oven broke out there, we literally were calling Airbnb guy frantically, like, dude, we can't cook our pizzas, man. We got these frozen pizzas and we can't cook them. And like the guy was going to have to drive like 2 hours to come deliver us food.
Main reason why is because everything shut down at 8.
Yeah, everything in the whole town shuts down like exactly at 8. And there's literally no Uber drivers like at all, because it's not a big enough community to really even have like an Uber Lyft system out there. So yeah, it was pretty funny. We're like, you know, sitting down, getting comfortable, chilling, you know, just poured some whiskey, and we're like getting ready to put the pizzas in the oven, have them all on the counter, and damn oven just decided to take a dive, and like the power went out, and like the breaker blew like 3 times. We kept trying to flip it back on, wouldn't stay working. We're like, oh god, dude, this is terrible. So yeah.
But I mean, the Airbnb was great though. I mean, he went to a pizza place. They brought us pizza. They had the guy come out and actually look at the oven. Like, they comped us in a lot of areas. And
well, example of small town USA, right? So we have the person that's there, his maintenance, the owner of the Airbnb's maintenance person, and he brings us this pizza from a local, like real popular pizza joint because the guy calls him is like, hey, I got this, like, can you do this for me and I'll pay you? And as a maintenance guy, he's like, yeah, dude, absolutely. So he shows up and we start talking and telling him what's going on and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm up here visit my Uncle Larry, and he's a really good dude, and blah blah blah. And he's like, Larry, and like instantly, like he knew who my uncle was, and we're like, dude, sit down, have pizza, kick it with us, have a drink, and I'm getting phone calls from my uncle like, hey, don't get him too drunk, he has to drive home, and
he had one drink.
Yeah, for the record, he had one drink, but yeah. So, just
don't forget about that ghost town though out there.
Oh, Columbia.
Oh yeah,
Columbia, California. We went down there. Uncle Larry, we all hopped in his truck. He took us down there. We spent a good couple hours, 3-4 hours down there. They had a dig festival.
It was called Diggins.
Diggins Festival, where they finally, I guess it was to commemorate where they finally dug where they could have flowing water.
Yeah, that's where they dug deep. They basically dug either like a trench or the trench for the piping or whatever it was, but they were able to successfully have flowing water rather than having to bucket it in or haul it into their location for mining. Because at the time before that, they were mining using water that was brought in, and the people that were bringing the water in were charging a high premium for it, so it was really cutting in on their profits and the ability for the town to thrive and grow. So that's what the Diggins Festival is. So what they do is they actually have a whole area that's actually everybody's dressed up in like the old school like 1800s clothing, and they have outbuildings and like all that different stuff set up, so it really is designed to give you the experience. They even have like wood chutes that they use to transport water because they didn't have like regular plastic pipe that they have now. They would lay these wooden chutes on top of each other, and the water would run downhill across these chutes and all that different stuff using like gravity to like feed it in certain areas and stuff. So the innovation from that time period was really pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
And it was fun.
I'll tell you what, it was one of the best burgers over inside of that town.
Oh yeah,
over there,
food was great.
Oh yeah, these guys didn't believe me. So for those of you that haven't tried it yet, I'm going to tell you the same thing. You're probably gonna be like, gross. Some people don't like blue cheese. I was never a big fan like of the blue cheese dressing, but I do like the like blue cheese on a burger. I eventually like started liking blue cheeseburgers, and I'll tell you what, like when you take blue cheese on a burger and you put like some A1 steak sauce on it with like bacon and all that stuff, I mean it makes like a really good steakhouse burger. And like Kill Switch was the guy that like was all about that. He kind of I don't know if he created it because I've seen multiple people have used it or done it before, but he brought it to my attention, and I tried it over at Tailgaters here in Glendale, and I'm like, man, this is freaking amazing. And so whenever once in a while I'll get it, and I told this guy and my uncle and stuff like that, like, hey, you guys got to try this, and the other bros that were with us and stuff like that, I'm like, dude, you guys got to try this. Well, pretty much everybody ended up ordering this burger, and nobody complained. Not one complained. Everybody absolutely loved it. They're like, this thing is bomb. We'll be ordering this again. So if you haven't tried it, take example from the Toothless Eater, Kill Switch. And I'm gonna tell you, it's good enough for him to gnaw on. So it's delicious, guys. I mean, it absolutely is. Terrible joke, sorry, bro, but I'm not say sorry. I'm not really sorry. But it is a good burger. So if you haven't had a chance to try one of those, definitely try one. But yeah, I mean that's.
And then we went down to Sylmar. We checked out. We went down to Sylmar. Spent the night down there.
Yeah, well,
Mexican down there.
Right, exactly, and stuff like that. So we did some cool little stuff. We went down to Sylmar like that. We hung out over there in Sylmar, California, and then we headed back here. So it was actually a pretty good little setup. A lot of fun. We had a lot of fun while we were out there, and we're getting ready to start planning the next one. So we are definitely looking forward to trying to figure out the destination for that. Generally, annual wise, we try to stay West Coast, but if you guys have any suggestions for like awesome places, because we generally will go like we'll leave like on a Thursday or like a Wednesday, and we'll come back like on a Sunday or a Monday. So when we try to plan like a year in advance. So if there is something that anybody out there like decides, hey, like check this place out. There's a really cool ride from Phoenix, go check this out. Shoot us a suggestion, and maybe we'll select that for next year's annual. So, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean that's our announcements for the week. We're getting ready to chime into our D&D session, our Dungeons and Dragons session. We do that on Tuesday nights. We mentioned that before. Like I said, we're just down to earth people. We ride our motorcycles, all different types. Well, now it's pretty much mostly Harleys, except for Juan Solo over here who rides a Yamaha. But he's trying. He wants to eventually upgrade, and by any means, I'm not downplaying other bikes. Like I don't mean like upgrade, like oh yeah, Harley's the best, and because I'm not the guy that's like this Harley brand loyal guy. I do like the fact that when you hop on a Harley, you can go, a couple 100 miles before needing gas. A lot of the other bikes aren't like that. I think that's a really cool, like his bike, has like, it's interesting. It's a big displacement motor, 1900 cc's, 113 cubic inches, but it doesn't have the mileage, the range when it comes to the gas. And yeah, it's whereas the other bikes, the other Harleys, you can go 200 between stops if you need to, which is really nice when you're taking those trips. Even if you want to stop every 100, 150, you don't have to really map out like every finite gas station and things like that as much when you have the all the Harleys and it's like that. But we're good with sport bikes. We're good with cruisers of, all types of cruisers, really. Anything 750cc and above, and as long as you can go 100 miles between gas stops at least, because we're not trying to stop every like 50, right? I mean, that would just make it cumbersome, especially when some of the stretches of roadway, if you ride your motorcycle, there's some stretches where you might not see a station for 50, 60 miles. So yeah, if you have at least 100 miles, I mean, come ride with us. We got this week a busy week, so we got D&D tonight. We got our roundtable meeting the last Wednesday of every month. That's tomorrow. And then we got our mystery destination ride on Thursday. Check out the flyer online for that. Eternal Kings Facebook page, Eternal Kings Motorcycle Society. Just search for it. There'll be a flyer posted. But we're meeting up on 107th Avenue and Van Buren. There's a Circle K. I've said it wrong in the past. I've always called it QT for some reason. But it is a Circle K gas station on 107th Avenue and Van Buren, and we meet right there. And about like 7:15ish, 7:20ish, somewhere around there. And it's on the flyer. And then we will kick stands up shortly thereafter, after deciding where we're gonna go. And by deciding, we literally just put names on a spinning wheel for restaurants, bars, grills, throughout the valley that are open till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. That way we can get there. We can, hang out, have a drink, have some food, talk and hang out with everybody. And it can be anywhere between 15 and I believe 50 or 55 miles, I think it is, in any one direction. So, and right now, let me tell you, this weather in Phoenix is like prime for that night ride. Like, step outside right now, it's 5:35, it's hot. Right, you get to like 7:30, it starts to cool down, the sun's down. Like that's the time you want to be riding right now, or in the morning. So the MDR is perfect for that. So if you're looking for something to do on a Thursday, by all means, come hang out, come join us. I think that's what I got. Anybody got anything? All right, well, that's King's Corner. Thank you for joining us. I think as we progress, we'll get a little bit better on this. And just every Tuesday, it comes with Perfect Practice, right? So, and maybe eventually we'll get some special guests, people that know what's up on the podcast stuff or on the live videos, and we'll be able to do some interviews and talk about some random stuff on the King's Corner. And then we are going to be doing some stuff on TikTok. We'll put some announcements there, just some creative ways for us to gain some viewers and subscribers. And hopefully get some revenue that goes back into our organization so that we can actually put it right towards the charity. So that's King's Corner. This is Spaz, Kill Switch, and U-Turn signing out.